to anyone listening to the sound of my voice, I want to officially welcome you to another episode of my podcast, the Next Generation Orientation Podcast. And on today's episode, we'll be talking about the influence of social media. One thing about social media is that when it comes down to Africa and to our Gen Z, we've actually abused social media a lot, that most of us don't understand the influence of social media. So we put out a lot of content out there that is not worthy being content. And then the society is being misled by what they see out there on social media because of the abuse of social media. So today we'll be handling this topic and we'll be going deep to have this conversation on the influence of social media. And on today's episode, I'll be having one of my, I don't know what to say, Mama. I really honor the privilege. Yes, it's a big privilege for you to, you told me you're going to be in my podcast. I was thinking it's a joke from US. You were watching my podcast and it really meant a lot to me. I want to say thank you so much for honoring my invitation. Yeah, I'm really grateful. So talking about the influence of social media, I wanted us to, dive in deep into this conversation to talk more about it because of what is happening in our society, in our modern day now. So I don't think our society understand what social media is all about.
Yes, actually.
Maybe a little bit introduction. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Kerry, Odili.
Okay.
And I'm also honored to be a part of this podcast.
Thank you.
I've been listening to some of your topics, I know when you started this, and I'm just really proud of what you're doing, and how you are impacting the lives of so many people out there, especially the youth.
Thank you so much.
So keep it up.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much. Thank you so much, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a privilege.
So talking about social media, to me, social media is supposed to be an important part of today's world. It actually is a very big part of today's world.
Yeah.
And of course, as we know, social media has its pros and its cons.
Yeah.
For me, the pros are far less than the cons, even though it's not supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
Social media is supposed to have the positive effect of, keeping people connected.
Mm-hmm.
Social media should be a place where people can come out, and at least that's what I believe the intentions from the onset.
Yeah.
Has always been for people to stay connected, share ideas, be able to exchange
Information,
mm-hmm. positive information, and maybe some negative information. Be able to know what's happening around the world.
Why negative information?
Because negative things do happen. So you're going to share, definitely, you're going to share negative information,
Okay.
but not share it to affect
Negatively.
people negatively.
Okay.
But you're sharing it to spread light that these, such things do happen.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So maybe I should just say, bringing awareness to people.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's not just the positive things that we find on social media. There are also the cons, like I said. I don't know where you want us to start. We can talk about the positive things.
Yeah.
First.
I think let's talk about the main reason for social media.
Yes.
So we have to, if we understand the sole aim of the idea behind social media, then we can be able to talk about the advantage and disadvantage.
And
so
for
the
me,
concept,
it's deeply what I've just touched on.
Yeah.
The idea that people can come together on social media. You've never met each other, but you're able to share information.
Yeah.
You're able to positively impact people, whether it's a youth, whether it's older generation out there, whoever can access social media can be impacted by the information that's shared on social media.
Yeah, but did you think that our society today, our Gen Z, do you think they understand this concept more? Because
I doubt it. I don't.
Exactly,
think so.
That's the problem.
Yes.
That's the problem.
That is the problem.
Yeah,
because that's actually what's causing a lot of the issues. I'm not saying that the Gen Z, they're the ones creating the problems on social media, but they're negatively affected the most.
Yes,
I find because maybe part of it, is because they're not. You have to be mature enough to know how to use what you access online, the information that you access online. I believe you have to be mature enough
Have
not to
emotional intelligence.
emotional intelligence and not to allow it affect you
Exactly.
negatively. Rather, you take the positive and then use it for the benefit of yourself and others out there, and in becoming a positive member of the society that you are
Exactly.
a part of.
Influencing. Yeah, because influencing in Nigeria, let me talk about my country. The influencing part in Nigeria is becoming abusive. Yeah, if you watch content out there, when it comes to Africa or Nigeria especially, you will see there's a lot of negative impact. People are trying to give us a different perspective of what social media is all about, that is not right, that is actually negative. And because we have a lot of high number of illiterates in Nigeria, so they accept that negative impact. So I think, from my own perspective,
I don't know if it's so much about having a high number of illiterates. You mean the number of people that access it?
is statistically, Nigeria is said to have 80% of illiterates statistically.
And it's funny because outside of Nigeria, it's the opposite. Like, Nigeria is one of the leading countries when you talk about, intelligence and, people who are educated out there.
Yeah.
Let me speak about the United States of America. Nigerians are well recognized. Like, they go out there, they're doing amazing things.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when they come to our countries, it's all different thing. It's the opposite. Maybe, let me not go. Let me not say it's the government. Let me not go there.
You know what I'll say?
Yeah.
You find that people who are very intelligent, when they use social media, they use it for the good of it. So
Exactly.
unfortunately, the people that you're talking about that are illiterate, if they get their hands on social media,
The
obviously what
abuses.
you're going to see is the effect of their illiteracy, and it's
Exactly.
just gonna show,
Because
and
of the number of illiteracy, so we have higher consumption. Illiterates consuming
of social media
Yeah.
by people who are not well educated and who don't know how to use the information that they are accessing out there. So I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. So
Something about this social media conversation is that when you tend to talk about it out there in the society, you get a lot of attack, but I don't mind, because the people that are attacking are always people that I see them as illiterate, people that don't understand what social media is all about. So especially our young girls, the young guys, they use social media as a means of, let me talk about the young girls, as a means of, should I say, not being modest enough, should I say, kind of exposure, negative exposing their body, something like that. And when you watch some things, mostly 80% of the things that I watch on social media is all about women, Nyash, this, that. I don't want to go into there, but so I'm just trying to tell you what Nigerian consume more. So if you do a skit or anything, any content on this aspect, you're going to actually blow. Yes, all those negative, being controversial and all those things. So if you do a content on that aspect, you're going to become popular.
So
can you imagine that?
You know that in the world today, and this has really nothing to do with Nigeria specifically, sex sells.
Yeah.
Sex sells.
Yeah.
Right? So obviously, social media has also become a place where people know that if they use it well, regardless of the information that they're putting out there, if they use it well, they can actually make money. Social media, Facebook especially, is monetized, right?
Yeah, it's monetized.
And if sex sells, then it's going to get you more views, it's going to get you more clicks, more comments.
I don't mind.
Well, guess what's going to happen? Wildfire. So people are always going to use it for that. And that's why it's very important that our young generation, that they're careful what they're accessing out there. And that if they are accessing that information out there, that they're well prepared to know that this information they're accessing is enough to impact them negatively. So social awareness is very important. Yes. And you have to learn it early enough. Otherwise, you go into it, it's a very vast, big, it's wide, it's just wide open. And if you're not careful, you can easily
get influenced
and be impacted in the wrong way. And before you know it, it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah, I think
So
that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. So because of the money and the situation of the country and what is getting them paid, just the clicks and the
what is getting
views.
them paid is what everybody's looking out for. Even that's why I told you that it's not so much, in my opinion, about being an illiterate, because even the well-educated people, money rules the world, and you're in a country where the government is not so much what it's supposed to
To
be.
be, yeah.
You know, the youth, there are no jobs for these people out there, and then the ones that are working, either they're getting owed, by their employers, they're not getting paid, or even if they're getting paid peanuts.
Peanuts, yeah.
Things that they cannot use to
Take
even
care of
themselves. They
and their
can't even,
family.
even boast of feeding 3 square meals in a day, not to talk about buying stuff
Things
for
for their family,
self-care or
yeah.
for their families. So they are educated, but guess what? Now it's all about survival of the fittest, they
Yes,
say.
yes,
So
survival of
they
the fittest.
access social media, and they're like, okay, so what can give me money out there? And if you want to sell your conscience, and you find that it's the easiest way that you can make money, trust me, a lot of people are going to jump all over it.
That is where the problem
That
begins.
is where the problem begins.
So now that is why I said I talked about emotional intelligence.
Yes.
So because if you're to be consuming such content, you have to be emotionally intelligent, not to allow such thing influence you. Like me watching skit, I just watch it just to have fun, to laugh. So I don't allow it get to me.
Right.
Like I just have this wall between the social media and my emotions.
Yes.
That I will never ever allow whatever I watch out there to get to me, unless it's something that is positive or
Right.
something that
Right.
I'm looking out for. So
Right,
it's hard
exactly.
enough. That's why I talked about emotional intelligence.
There are also, social media. When you talk about social media, there are so many negative. That's why in the beginning I said, for me, it seems like it now has more cons than pros, right? So if you talk about cyberbullying,
Yeah.
you talk about addiction, you talk about the spread of wrong information, which brings about misinformation, and you talk about just the wrong opinions, and just people just not minding their businesses. It's
Yeah.
then lack of privacy. The addiction part is just time that you're supposed to be using to do something beneficial for yourself. You find that you're on social media hours on end, and before you know it, time's gone. You haven't really gotten anything out of it. And mind you, you're busy watching people build their businesses on social media.
Yeah.
You're busy watching all these entertainers make money off of your clicks, the time that you're spending on there, your likes, your shares.
And you're busy criticizing.
You're criticizing and
they're making
not
their
using
money.
that time to work on yourself or
So,
build
yeah.
something positive that you yourself can put out there for the benefit of your society.
Yeah.
So social media is very addictive. Like if you're not, again, emotionally intelligent, you can get lost in it. And years will go by and you wonder what happened to you, and you've been sitting there watching other people build their lives, and all you're doing is
Just to criticize.
sit
That's
there and
comment
have
session.
all manner of opinions that are not even, some of these people don't care what you say. They don't even read your comments. It's crazy.
So what's the biggest influence you've got on social media?
The biggest influence.
Yes, you've got from social media.
You mean how I influence people, or how I am influenced?
The way you are influenced, how you are influenced. What kind of content you consume more, you know?
You know what? It's funny, okay? I do social media, but I'm very aware of how much time I spend on there, because like I said, it can be pretty addictive.
Addictive, yeah.
You just have to be very, very conscious of how much time you spend on there.
Yeah.
For me, it's pretty entertaining. It's taking over even just sitting there and trying to watch a movie for 2 hours. It might just be a short, like, little clip that can just get you to laugh. There are comedians out there, the likes of Chifimo. There's Charles Ozuribo. I watch his stuff. I watch your content. I listen. The things that actually you learn from.
Yeah.
But to sit there and just click from Linda KG blog to maybe
Instablog.
Nezaville Instablog or Gossip
Today.
Nigeria. I can say these names because I've heard of them. To be sincere with you, gossip. I can't even tell you if I've ever been in there. I don't know what it looks like, but I hear that a lot of gossips are spread through that channel. Lindy KG, I look at her stuff every now and then, and I'm just like, people are sitting here. You just click on this, you comment, you click on there, you comment, and before you know, we've spent hours just going through stuff and just.
What about Gist Lover? You
I
know
hear about
Gist
Just Lover, but I've never really. I don't follow. Just
Then
Lover.
I don't even know what to talk about the Gist Lover. But to me, or to you, your own opinion, what did you think? Did you think Gist Lover has been impactful?
Well, look at the name.
Gist Lover.
Just Lover. It's really what it is. Like if you love gist, you love gossip.
That's where to be.
That's exactly where to be to get the information, and I'm sure whoever created it is making good use of it to make sure that it matches the name.
Yeah.
And they're making money off of it. So
enough money.
Say, no, I don't beef anybody who's out there trying to earn a living for themselves. It's you who is consuming it. What are you doing with the information that you're consuming?
Yeah.
You know? Don't sit there and allow everything you see influence your thoughts. You know, you have to be smart enough. Maybe that's where the literacy comes. No, even the literacy comes in. You know, you have to be smart enough to know that not everything you see on social media is right.
Real. Yeah.
You know, and that's where Gen Z can also be affected. You know, you see a lot of people looking at women now. Every woman has this nice shape
And all that.
but it's not all real. Nobody was born this way. A lot of these people are going under the knives to get these perfect or so-called perfect bodies. They really aren't perfect bodies. They instant gratification is what I call it, because a lot of those things come with the negative impact. Eventually down the line, you hear about all
come with their own
manner
consequences.
all manner of things that can happen to you know, these fake bodies.
But you know that have actually misled a lot of young guys, young people getting married wrongly because of what they see on social media. You know, especially a lot of people have these thoughts of fantasy that doesn't exist because of what they see on social media. You know, so because as a content creator, when I'm watching, just like I'm an actor, I'm into I know what it's all about, making movies. So if I'm watching horror movie, so I don't get scared watching horror movie because I know, I'm aware that all those things is not real. Like it's all makeup and everything. Yes, exactly. So when I'm consuming a content on social media, I also know that
it's created to have that effect on people. But there are people who don't know that.
No, that is what I'm saying, that we have a lot of illiteracy when it comes to that aspect.
Maybe ignorance.
Ignorance, rather.
Yeah. Ignorance. I think I prefer that word, because you might be literate but not know it all.
Yeah.
You know, there are aspects of life that you lack in, and that's where you have to be willing to learn from people who know it better than you. But that's not always our human traits. We tend to want to know it all or act like we know it all, right? So I think ignorance is what
ignorance
it is, rather.
Is the word,
Okay. Because honestly, I know a lot of people that did go to school, even though, of course, the fact or the idea that someone's educated doesn't mean that
I think they have a lot of
they're smart.
I think they have. Someone told me about intelligence, that when we talk about intelligence, they have a lot of intelligence. They have educational intelligence, they have emotional intelligence, they have spiritual
smart.
Street
people that are street smart, and they can compete with you who went to school, and you can't even come close to when it comes to the things that they are aware of that are happening on the streets
due to their experience and exposure or what have known.
So when you get to where you don't know it, you pipe down. But unfortunately, that's not what it is. People just allow their ignorance to rule. And then they take over social media and cause all manner of problems for other people.
I know that. All right, so let's talk about the advantages of social media. Excuse me. So the impact that have actually created in our society, the advantages. So from your own perspective, from your own opinion, what do you think that have actually been the advantage of social media? So far, so good.
I believe one of the biggest for me is that social media has brought the world together.
One.
So, for instance, you're here in Nigeria. It's through social media that you've come to find out, what's happening in the States and in real time.
Yeah.
In real time. Because, the usage of cameras these days. Everybody has access to videos, and they can go live on Facebook. There's something happening in the US right now, maybe some kind of grand auto, some theft or whatever, and someone pulls out their camera and they're able to go on Facebook live, and they're videoing it and sharing it in like real time. That's one of the biggest, for me. It's like you no longer have to wait for maybe someone who heard the news over there to share it with another person here, who now shares it with maybe a blogger, or shares it with a newscaster or an anchorman, and then you wait for it to be put on the newspaper
or magazine,
or for it to be now transmitted through the radio station or TV station. Now it's like, as it's happening, you're getting
easily accessible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's one. Another is just the idea that it can impact you positively. You see people doing big things out there, and you want it for yourself. Okay. You want to learn with social media. Like, if I have a job, especially since COVID, 2020 COVID, people have been able to sit, within the four walls of their homes and create. It's allowed people to create
a lot of content. A lot of people made
beautiful
money through
content,
the COVID. Yes,
great ideas, and even share on social media. And now you have people coming together from different parts of the world to work together. Maybe I have someone in the States who wants to work with me on an idea that I created, but then there's someone in Nigeria who actually matches my idea very well. And because I've been able to put it out there, you reach out to me and we come together, and boom. I mean, it was social media that brought us together here today, right? I was watching your stuff, and then we talked about a little bit of it, and I said, when I visit, I'll let you know. And here we are today. So it doesn't mean that you couldn't have gone out there to find other people who can possibly sit with you and try to
have that conversation.
But social media can have its positives, and for me, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing, always. So any other advantage from your side?
Absolutely. Sometimes, with the ads now, people are not sitting and waiting.
Business is going
ads,
well through
not
ads.
just the business ads. Hospitals, organizations, schools. Yes, like imagine how many times you're on, say, Instagram, and you're watching one thing, and then you scroll up, there's an advertisement about a doctor who can maybe perform kidney surgery.
And you've been looking for that.
Information. You've been looking for. Now you can reach out. Their information is there. You're not waiting to see. Maybe you can go get a visa first and get to the States and then look for who can do it. You contact them, find out if they can actually help you with that need.
Yes.
And if they can, before you transition into the next step, right?
Yes.
Rather than just sitting there and not knowing.
Looking for an agent and all that stuff. And
who can, and then it eliminates a lot of third party.
Yeah.
Right? It eliminates a lot of third party, and you're just doing your stuff. That's why I say it's a pretty built. It's
very, very
pretty
impactful.
beautiful stuff. Yes.
Then let's go to the main thing, the disadvantages of. Okay, before we talk about the disadvantages, from your own side, you as someone that have kids, young ones, it's very very, very crucial this time around to train kids, like when it comes to the presence of social media. So how did you control that?
You have to absolutely have your parental guidance antennas up at all times.
Okay.
And it has to start from within the home, because you remember, you can only control what happens within your four walls.
Yeah.
You don't know what other parents are teaching their kids out there. So you have to impact your own kids positively, and then have them take whatever you're teaching them out there. You build such a strong foundation so that when they go out there and there's negative information flying here and there, or people trying to influence them in the wrong ways,
they always reject
they already have that foundation that you've set up at home.
Yes.
And you have to teach your children that, they have to be leaders and not followers. Leaders in good things, obviously. And when they build that self-confidence and take it out there, nothing anybody can tell them will make them just
just
lose their guards,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they know exactly what background they come from. It's very, very important.
We've lacked that a lot in Nigeria. When it comes to a lot of things happening in our society now, it's all started from family and the parenting style in Nigeria.
Exactly.
So I think that is the problem. So
It's the problem, but also sometimes
One of
I
the
feel
problems.
for certain. Okay, let's take for instance, right? You have a parent who's out there, like, really struggling to make a living for the family
yeah,
because they're not around so much. They're running around trying to cater
Work on
for the
that,
home,
yeah.
work hard, bring food, home. Their kids are being raised by social media. They're spending so much time on social media that they don't have that parental guidance, which is that antenna I'm talking about,
Yeah.
that needs to be up at all times. So I think for me, parents out there, no matter, even if you find that you were so busy, I think you need to make out time for your kids and remind them that not everything they see out there is real.
it's real.
Not everything they consume on social media is what they should bring home, or what they should apply to their own lives. You have to teach caution. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Nothing is wrong with it, but like, when you allow so much of these things impact you, the outcome can be very negative.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true. That's true. So okay, that's true. But then I think when you talk about the parents out there catering for the family, but I think the little time they also spend with their kids,
They themselves spend it on social media.
You think so?
A lot of homes, yes, absolutely. I saw something online once where this mother came out and she was carrying a pot, and she was, I guess it was time to serve dinner. She gets to the dining table, the husband, her son, her daughter, they were just sitting all there, each and every one of them with their own devices, maybe one with an iPad, the other one with the phone, just disengaged from one another. So she just served them a pot of devices for dinner. And I think she was trying to make a statement like, okay, if this is what we're going to eat, then let's just have it for dinner. You're not hungry, So it was funny, but it actually sent a very strong message that in today's homes, a lot of families, are losing that family time.
They've been distracted.
You're distracted. Time to bond, time to maybe ask your kids how their days have been, or spend time with your husbands spend time with your wives, try to find out what's happening at work. It's stress relief time, it's home time.
Yeah.
But everyone is still, when you're done with all of that helter skelter out there, you come home and you're still on your devices. It's crazy. So
Very crazy.
Yes.
I can relate to that. When you want to spend time with someone special to you, someone you love, and they're all distracted by social media and all that.
I can't even begin to tell you what. I'm sure you've seen this, like, so many times. Maybe on a public transport, you look up and everyone is
It's on their phone.
and that actually is it can bring about lack of awareness of your surroundings and your environment. So there could be danger lurking and you don't even know it.
No one pays attention anymore.
Because you're distracted.
Yes.
Yes. So if you ask me, that's a biggie.
A big problem.
Yes.
So let's say one of the disadvantages of social media could be disconnection.
Absolutely.
Any
You're
more
disconnected from your world anymore. So much more. Like I said, just not using it for yourself, to better yourself. Maybe if you took time to sit back and say, what can I bring to my society? What can I actually put out there that can positively impact my society? Maybe you can come up with something good.
Yeah.
But because you're so addicted to social media that you're jumping from one person's page to another, you spend all day and you lose time that you would have used to build something positive for yourself and others as well.
Oh.
Yep.
Well, I think we've already had a great conversation. So let's kind of round it up. In general, an advice you are to give the Gen Z or the society or Africans or we Nigerians on the importance and the influence of social media. Because this country, you're not in Nigeria, so I don't know, maybe you get information what is happening in Nigeria, but trust me, social media is being abused
It's
in Nigeria.
abused everywhere. Believe me.
Seriously, even in the United States.
Oh, absolutely.
I was thinking it's just Nigeria.
Oh no. Are you serious? All over the world, people abuse
For
social
real?
media. Yes. So,
I think I have a wrong information then.
well, you need to research a little more.
Well, I was thinking it's just Nigeria or Africa, and
No, it's not an African thing. Honestly, no. On a serious note, social media can be abused anywhere, everywhere. It's social media, it's humans that are having access to it. So regardless of where a person is, if they are getting that misinformation that I'm talking about, they're getting the wrong information. It just depends on who gets access to that information.
Yes.
If it gets into the wrong hands, they can use it, and negatively impact people even further and spread it even more. And it just, before you know it, and bad things tend to just spread faster
than the good things.
Yes. So
Wow.
it's a worldwide thing, my dear.
Wow. But the rate in Nigeria is high, because I can always speak
Because
for-
you're focused more on Nigeria. But
okay.
if you start to look at it, worldwide, it's everywhere. Yeah. This information that this conversation we've had, trust me, the whole world can benefit from it, because it's everywhere that people can have. Anywhere you have access to social media, you can actually benefit from this information and just know how to, curb your desires to spend time on social media. And even when you are spending time on social media, make sure you are doing it for the good of yourself and others.
Okay, I think there's something I forgot for us to talk about.
Sure.
TikTok.
Okay, that's social media as well.
Yes, I do that social media, but TikTok in particular. TikTok is different from Instagram. Yeah, Instagram, you can just come out there, put your content out there you produce. TikTok, you kind of copy content to, maybe do a voiceover or something like that. So, and that TikTok is something that is very crazy for me. So, a lot of you see people dance. They'll be saying, and you'll be reading stuff that I don't like. I'll be like, what is happening?
Interestingly, yes. And I think TikTok grew more again during COVID.
Yeah,
when
during
people
COVID.
weren't able to go out there anymore. And I've heard, I don't spend so much time on TikTok, but I've heard quite some crazy stuff that happens on TikTok.
Especially TikTok Live. Click on the button below. Everybody do it. Click. That's very funny. And anytime I come over TikTok, I just swipe it, like, geez, I'll be just laughing, like, what is happening? You see someone that is very busy, but just like you said, they are doing it to earn a living. It's been monetized.
Exactly.
So they're making money from it.
Exactly.
But although it's funny,
TikTok, it's Snapchat, it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's Instablog,
Twitter.
Twitter. Oh yes, exactly. I don't even know who the king is anymore. I know Gen Z is not so big on Facebook. I know they're more Instagrammers.
TikTok.
They
are more on TikTok.
Well,
TikTok. Hey.
Gen Z.
If you see
and
hashtags on
older
TikTok, it's
generation
billions.
as well. Really?
Hashtags on TikTok is billions.
I believe you.
Yeah, it's billions, but you see, you hardly see billions on Instagram. Instagram, you see more of millions hashtag, but on TikTok,
which is why I'm saying that it's not just Gen Z for TikTok. I think it's just everybody. Because when I've been on TikTok, I've seen grandmas creating videos.
Wow.
Yeah, to have fun. I've seen middle age, people. It's everybody.
It's just general.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, man.
You
Once
are
again.
so welcome, and I'm privileged.
I really
I also thank
enjoyed
you
this.
for having me on here.
I really enjoyed and I learned a lot, because most of the things we just talk about, some of them I'm not actually aware of it. The more we grow, this podcast is actually if I can be able to benefit from it as a host. What about other people? So I've learned a lot from this conversation we just had now. Things that I'm not aware of it. At least I know that the abuse of social media is not just in Nigeria or Africa. I was thinking it's just Nigerians that are, because everything that comes to Nigeria, trust me, abuse is number one. Abuse is not anything that comes to
That's
Nigeria.
why I said to you that our people are very smart. Nigerians would take something this small and make it this big.
Big. Nobody wants to talk to Nigerians anyhow on social media. If you ever try to talk to any Nigerian,
especially this 2024, no grief for NEPA,
no grief for anybody. Our hashtag this year is something. No grief for anybody. No grief. Nobody want grief for anybody. But it's all fine.
Yes, absolutely.
So I believe at the end of the day, we all know what we are doing.
And it's what's bringing about a lot of stress relief. We cannot take away from that as well. As much as you find that, negative information can fly really fast on social media. Imagine a lot of us are like, and I say us because it's our people. We're Nigerians, right? The lack of employment, unemployment rates going up. You see what's happening with the dollar rates, lack of good jobs or even jobs. Let's even find the jobs or that you do have the jobs and then you're not getting paid
well.
There are a lot of situations that can put you in a depressive state. So when you have social media to help take away and relieve that stress,
I can relate to that.
It's a big thing, you know what I mean?
I can relate to that. A lot of times, you just come back home, you start thinking about a lot of things. Just go on social media and laugh it off.
And God's really with us when it comes to that, but that's I think if we start talking about God, that's gonna open up another wide door.
Conversation.
But that's it. Yes.
All right. To anyone listening out there, I guess you guys have learned something from this conversation, because for me, I do like it's really impactful and it's educative. So I want to say thank you for being with us. And if you're just watching for the first time, please do me this favor to subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on all social media platforms. And yes, it's very important. It's very important. Please, this is the only way to support me. And if you're listening via any audio podcast platform, please also do well to follow and subscribe. Just turn on your notification button for the next episode. I'll see you on the next episode. God bless you. Bye.
See ya.
Wow.